Hey guys, Rich Lopez with the Droptine Traditions Podcast, episode 131. My guest this evening is a very young man, Devin Vogel. Devin, you're from Pennsylvania, correct?
Yes, sir.
All right.
Born
Well,
and raised.
thank you for coming on. I'm excited. Young people excite me because I live vicariously through young people. My kids are young. Well, not that young. My oldest is 41. So, but that's young compared to me.
Yeah.
But at any rate, before we get into the meat and potatoes here, people, this is on Stickbo, so please like and subscribe because the more subscribers, the more I can get equipment in here to make this even bigger. But I want to recognize my supporters before we get into it. Traps Feather Rests, Daryl Damron, Traditional Bowhunter Magazine, my Bible since day one, Sauk Trail Archery, my buddy Mike Roberts, StickbowSupplies.com, my buddy Travis over there, Whiskey City Trad Gear, WCTrad.com. Love him to death, David Snide. Jessie Savage Blacksmith.com. Jesse, you're the baddest. TraditionalJunk.com, Kevin Bishop. St. Joe River Bow Company, Courtney and Austin. TheEthicalPredator.com, Grant Richardson. And the StickbowHuntsMX.com. That would be Pancho and Fernando and the ranch owner, who I had the honor of speaking with on a podcast, two podcasts ago, Bildo Saravia. So without further ado, welcome, Devin.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
So I got to ask you, since I've got younger kids, how old are
Mhm.
you? Since
34.
I'm an OG, I can ask that question.
Yes, you can.
34. God damn, you're young. And I see you have gauges.
I do. For the longest time now, yeah, since like middle school, so I haven't
My
touched them recently.
my youngest son has them, and I was introduced to them. I was like, "What the hell is that?" So I was like, "Oh, cool, whatever." I love it. He works for NASA of all places.
Oh, yeah, funny enough, I got that from my father when I was very young. He used to put like Christmas ornaments through his ear and go up and put bigger,
Yeah,
weirder things in there. And then it became popular somehow in school, and I was like, whatever. So I just ran with it.
that's funny because I have a pierced ear,
Yeah.
so I think this Christmas I might do that just to wow the grandbabies.
Yeah, it's just something different.
Yeah. So you're in Pennsylvania. What's your background? What's your bio background? If you could just explain that.
Being 34, it's not too long, but yeah, born and raised Bethlehem, Pennsylvania, always been around here. Uh, Raised by a single mother, kind of lower middle class. So me and my friends were always in the woods doing, young kid stuff. I was
Hmm.
born in 91, so we didn't have cell phones or the internet was around, but not like YouTube and social media and everything. So just the old school way of having fun, getting out there and doing stuff. I moved out as soon as I turned 18, started working in the restaurant industry for 15 years, ended up being like a kitchen manager and going through multiple restaurants in the whole 9 yards there. Ran a mechanic shop with my buddies for like 5, 6 years. That was all in the background while working full time, whatnot, doing auto body, performance work, older imports, Nissans, Toyotas, Datsuns, fun stuff like that. And then, yeah, just had some health issues when from like 28 or so, and then kind of just came back, moved to the family farm to help everybody, and really picked up on archery then.
What's funny is I have a background in automotive. I'm an insurance adjuster, so I deal with body shops on a daily basis. Uh,
Oh, you gotta wheel and deal with them.
well, it's different now. I mean, nobody knows how to fix anything.
Yeah, well, no one wants to. Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, okay, did you go to Votech? No.
No.
You ever heard of a hammer and dolly? No. I'm like, yeah, I can't retire fast enough, dude. It's one of those things where the industry has basically killed itself.
Yeah,
Uh,
cars these days are throwaway cars.
hmm Yeah, you're
So, I
right.
mean, what are you gonna fix?
Nothing. I mean, I was, I've got an old Dodge Ram, a 2013. So the metal Chryslers were not known for good metal back in
Yeah.
the 2000s. A lot of them rotten and stuff like that. My side panel on my bed, on my truck, my Ram truck, is rotten to the core. So instead of fixing it, I put two giant band-aids on it, and I get so many laughs at a
Oh
stop
yeah,
sign.
yeah.
Oh my God, they just laugh. And I wrote on it with a black Sharpie, send help. Just
Please.
You got to keep the humor going. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I'm going to drive that truck till it blows up. But
Yeah, it's probably got way more life in it than anything new. And if you do have to
yeah,
fix anything, it's dollars on the penny, or
yeah,
technically a dollar.
yeah, like my wife's vehicle's a 2016. I just change the spark plugs like every couple of years and just replace filters and whatnot, and they keep running. So
Yeah.
why not?
Yeah, I like my
So,
old 90s stuff, my carbureted stuff.
oh yeah,
Keep it
oh my God,
simple.
absolutely. So how did you get started in archery?
Interestingly enough, I didn't have any like real close friends or family that were even hunters or bow hunters. Like I said, we were just, kids who played in the woods, and we lived on top of a mountain. So we had a group of friends that lived on the mountain. We didn't travel too far because if you did, you had to walk back up the mountain. So when I was about 12 years old, I had a friend who lived down the mountain a little bit, and we were allowed to do pretty much whatever we wanted there and whatnot. And looking back now, his parents were probably into drugs or something like that. They weren't doing too hot, but we enjoyed being there because we could do whatever we want. And in the backyard, there was this little beat down, rundown shed with the ceiling collapsing, and there's two rooms and a fireplace. And up on the wall for years and years and years was this strung up bow sitting above the fireplace, right next to where the ceiling was collapsed.
So it was strung. It was strung.
Strung, covered in spray paint, and like 10, 15, 20 years of dust, to the point where like we didn't even pay attention to it, never even noticed it. Until one day we were like, that's a weapon we could like cause damage with. Let's go play with that.
Sure.
So him being a poor kid, he was like, give me 20 bucks and it's yours. So I did that because I worked cutting grass in the summers or whatever. So I was
Sure.
like, yeah, got me a bow. Then we had to find arrows because we're 12 years old and you can't just find arrows. So you go to school, you ask around your buddies, you try to find out. You find someone with an older brother. He had some old like Easton Genesis that he got from Walmart, and we paid another $20 for three of those.
Ooh.
And yeah, we just started like flight shooting in the backyard, just having a good time. That went on for a while. Um, Later on, we ended up getting in a little bit of trouble because we were distance shooting and got better and better, and arrows ended up where they weren't supposed to be. So
Sure.
that bow got taken away by mom at the age of like 13 or so and hung up for a while. But that was my real introduction to it. And I still have that bow and I love that bow. But that was like my real first getting into it.
Yeah, I remember shooting in my backyard as a kid. Uh,
Yeah.
my mom had a lilac tree, and my target would always sit in front of it. And sometimes I would miss and hit the lilac tree,
Oh.
and or it would ricochet off the lilac tree and wind up on my neighbor's siding, way
Mm-hmm.
above where I could reach it. So of course there
Oh,
was
and then just got left.
the knock on the door. I'm 14. I'm like, hi, Mr. Jones, whatever. Um, Come here, son. Yeah, bring your mom and dad with you. So
Yeah.
whatever. It's just it could have been worse. I could have been in an opium den. You know what I'm saying?
I guess that is far worse. Yes.
Yeah.
We were flight shooting, and an arrow ended up in an older lady's yard who happened to like let her dog out all the time. So she was reasonably
Yeah.
upset. We
Right.
weren't thinking all of our thinking brains, but it was a good way to develop form because it was just like three of us shooting a 48-pound bow at 12 years old. So none of us were getting it all the way back, but the competition of all of us having our own arrow and driving it over the course of a week, we just progressed and progressed and progressed until it became a problem.
So let me ask you a question. If you're that young, pulling 48 pounds, did you guys develop bad habits like target panic, things of that nature?
None of those other guys continued with archery. It's something that I deal with. Obviously, I have the worst bad habits, and I do what I can to work through them and to try to correct them. But when they're
Okay.
that deeply ingrained from a young age with a bad bow like that, you kind of have some. I'm a snap shooter. I cannot help snap shooting, so that might come from that.
That's okay. We'll talk about that at length later on. Um, so traditional archery, basically, it was a recurve that you guys got into. Do you remember the recurve, the brand, the make?
Yes, we'll pull it up right here. Actually, it went so like I said, it was covered in spray paint. So many years went by. This sat in my mom's basement, then got moved up into her attic, and just kind of completely forgot about it. High
Super
school, we
Diablo.
shot a little. It is. We shot a little bit in high school and whatnot, but this just stayed around. And then when I was like 28, I finally got around to taking the spray paint off and getting into the nitty gritty. And that's when I really started like collecting and appreciating because I had
Can
something worth value. So imagine being 12 years old and 48 pounds and trying to whip this around. Like it's way too much bow for
and
anybody. That
actually,
is.
Damon Howards are known for feeling heavier than what they are.
A super Diablo is not really forgiving or gentle. It's snappy. It's rough. It's an animal. So yeah,
Can we see the logo and
yes.
writing? Oh wow.
So
all right, 45 with the extra
45XX
X.
or
So,
whatever.
so
Yeah.
that's an extra
So
pound or two. Man, that's
yeah.
beautiful. That's got to
What
be
I
like a
do it nowadays
70.
is about 48.
That's got to be like a 1973.
73.
Yeah. Okay.
73. It's actually my mom's birth year. So that was an interesting thing as well. It's like,
God
a bunch
bless
of
her.
signs that got me into archery and kept me with it. But this was like, as soon as I found out what this was and like the history and how nice it was, like that's what really got me into Damon
Yeah.
Howitt, so to speak.
Oh,
So I was
dude.
like, oh, I wonder what else they have to offer and all those things. And you get in that rabbit hole of collecting and working your way up from there.
Now, how did you get into building? I mean, bow building is something you just don't walk into.
Sorry, you broke up there for a second.
Oh, bow building. How did you get into that? Because you just don't walk into bow building.
No, I like longer bows, obviously, like 70 inch, 68 inch. And, for the longest time, I was shooting that 60 inch and I was moving up, getting older, different bows. And I really wanted something new. But I love Damon Howitt so much. And I had been in contact with Martin, like 2017, 2018, trying to get, a hunter with different woods and a high risk rib. Nothing too crazy custom, but, something that, I would take pride in and, had money saved up for it. I had a little envelope with $1,200 in it. And I was like, I'm going to get a nice Damon Howitt whenever. And I just kept getting the runaround and whatnot. And then Josh took over, and I was optimistic again, stayed in contact with him for a while. And he's still doing a great job. Love everything Josh is doing. He's doing a great job, but they're still not making those longbows yet. So I finally just, talking to Mike Bush and getting into it,
Well, yeah,
finally decided to do it on my
Mike
own.
actually, I interviewed Mike early on. Unfortunately, he passed away. Uh, but that's what I want to talk about right now because we're going to switch gears here. While the
Okay.
iron is hot, what was that conversation? Because he was sending me pictures of bows that I did not know you were building, and I was like, "Who the hell's building these bows? They're phenomenal." And he goes,
Yeah.
secret sauce, baby, secret sauce." So talk to me. What was that all about?
I mean, I had been talking to Mike since probably around the same time, like 2017,
Yeah.
on the Damon Howitt Facebook forum or Facebook group or whatever. This bow, the Damon Howitt, was kind of rough when I had originally like posted it to the group and asked the date and everything. And he was like, "You should send it back to Damon Howitt to get it refinished." So in messaging him about that, he was like, "That probably won't happen. They'll charge you a bunch, and it'll be a while before it gets back out. But if you have any, technical abilities or anything, it's not hard. You should be able to do it yourself." So he actually ended up inspiring me to like buy another cheaper bow and just to practice refinishing and to get into it that way. So he was really the person to like push me into refinishing or doing any kind of major bow work at all.
Yeah.
And then I got this kind of idea, and he went to Damon Howitt in 2021 and was responsible for the 62-inch Damon Howitt Hunter turning into a 64-inch. They offered both now, but he elongated that and came up with that whole design. And me and him were on the same boat that longer, like keep going longer. 66-inch, make a modern day Ventura, make some big crazy target bows again. But you know, so me and him just going back and forth, and he had so much knowledge. I didn't know any real bowyers personally, and
Mhm.
he's not a full-time. I think he may have made a couple bows himself over the years, but it was mostly just like his technical experience with Damon Howitt, and he knew the inner workings. And even the prototypes I bought from him and got like saw very intricate, very different, and he knew all the specifications from working with Martin and Howitt over the years. So he was just a well of knowledge and always the friendly guy who was willing to answer questions and see how things were going. So
Oh, for sure.
yeah, he was main inspiration for pushing me in the beginning to really get into most of everything.
I think he was a major inspiration for getting Damon Howitt back on a map.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, in that late, like I said, in that 2018 area where you couldn't get in contact with everybody and people were losing faith, but then he went back and he started posting himself and taking even like shop tours and everything because he went up there for a week or two or something and like stayed there. So yeah, most of our updates were coming from him at that point, and that was all
Yeah.
we were getting.
Yeah, because I interviewed Josh twice already, and yeah, everything seems good. I'm seeing the videos, things are happening. They're not happening as fast as people would like them to, but this is what
Yeah,
happens when you got a company that's kind of in a dumpster, and you got to resurrect the phoenix.
yeah, and I understand both sides of it. Like he's jumped through crazy hoops and dumped tons of money in, and he's doing the work that most people wouldn't do. I wouldn't be able to do it, that's for
I
sure.
know. Well, I
And
mean,
so
really, I
he's
mean
definitely
that's
he's the guy for the job. But at the same time, people like me have been waiting since 2017, and even when he took over and made those reservation lists and everything.
Mhm.
I'm still on two of those lists waiting. And if you go on the website, it still says 3 to 6 months for, confirmation or whatever. So I can understand why people that have been waiting for 5 years are kind of sitting there with their hands empty.
I get it. I totally get it. And it is what it is. I mean, I'm on a list for the FBI for the most wanted, but no, I'm not I don't buy bows anymore. It's just one of those things. Just as I get to a certain age, I'm like, and I'm not buying anymore. I've got more
I mean,
as you,
I was excited to buy one just to support him and to help get it back up and to have a piece of that history, but
right, right. Yeah.
we're
They're
still
doing,
waiting.
I just pray for them that they do the best that they can to get things moving and things start turning around. It is a positive thing as that they're
No, yeah,
resurrecting Damon Howard.
they're definitely on the right track.
Yeah. So the bows that you started building, I've seen them through Mike Bush and from you, from what you sent me, and they're amazing. Um, I see knife edge. I see basically, yeah, obviously the Damon Howard influence, and so in the background there, I'm looking. Is that a Del Rey?
The Del Rey and a Vigilante. They were
Oh
too
my
big to
god,
fit on that rack, so I had to hang them up quick.
man! Well, the Del Rey has been one that I've been after, but I've been looking for a 66-inch Del
Oh, the
Rey.
earlier ones, yeah.
Yeah, all rosewood. Yeah,
Yep.
very difficult to find in good
Yeah, yeah,
shape.
yeah.
They're pretty beat up when I find them, and they want too
Yeah.
much money for them. Have you ever
I'm a
built?
sucker for the high risks, so anytime I can get
Oh, me
anything at
too.
like
Oh,
easy
yeah.
high risk, I'm bidding on it, I'm getting it, I'm doing what I need to do.
Now you built a couple of bows with the high wrist on. I mean, super high wrist, where
Yeah,
the
that's my personal one is like dumb high. Yeah. But
yeah
that's just how
yeah.
I like to shoot.
Do you have one of those to show us?
Yeah. I could show you the inspiration for it too, actually.
Okay.
So when we were talking about Mike Bush and getting me to buy a bow to practice reworking on, this is a
Oh
Damon
yeah.
Hollett Palomar, and it's actually too tall to touching the ceiling here, but you can see the size and the bulkiness of that grip. It's just huge and flat.
What a beautiful bow. I had a
Yeah.
hunter. I had a hunter. I think 7 or 66. Damon Howard Hunter that had that same high wrist. I mean, like
Really
really,
on 100, that's crazy. Yeah.
it was beautiful. I miss it.
So this is the bow that Mike Bush ended up convincing me to get just to practice my refinishing. So this was
Okay.
like 2016 pre-COVID. I paid $75 for this shipped. It was delaminated here, and all the tip material was missing in the cores, completely like shot out, separated. I thought there was like a 10% chance of it ever shooting again. Mainly just doing it to, clean up the rosewood in practice and have something to hang on the wall. But after did that and fixed up everything and glued it all back together, it ended up shooting pretty fine for the next couple of years. And then I ended up hanging it up because I was a little worried about it. But now that I'm doing stuff, with proper glues and clamps and everything, I redid it like 3 years ago, and it's a solid shooter now. It's only 30 pounds, but with that grit and 69 inches, it's like a lazy boy to shoot. I love it.
Oh yeah, I love it.
But yeah, that grip just puts your hand back nice and far, and you're just relaxing. Got enough riser weight to not shake anything. Super nice. But yeah, that was the inspiration for that. At least that one grip. That's how I like them. Uh-oh. Ah, it's a little cramped in here. The shop's about like 20 feet long, but 6 or 7 feet wide. So rotating anything in here gets kind of crazy, especially when I have cabinets and other shelves and tables.
Well, I understand. I'm in Florida, so I had a 30 by 40 shop, and now
Oh,
I'm in a 10 by 12 shop.
oh
And
yeah.
so my grandkids' bedrooms, all the bows are hanging in there. So it's eye candy for them. They know not to touch anything.
Yeah.
As you can see, this is my room back here. I got other rooms filled with that. So um, the Damon Howitt bows have always been my favorite to collect. Always
Oh yeah.
been my favorite to shoot. It, people ask me. Yeah, I get IMs from people all day long. What in your mind? What do you think is the best production bow ever made? As hands down, Damon Howitt.
I'll
You
agree
know,
with that. Yeah.
from 1961 to 1968. That's my period.
Yes. I'll agree with that. Yeah.
But then they came out with the Matador, and I know you
That
have
wa-
one of them.
It's hanging up over here, yeah. I
Mhm.
liked some of the 70s stuff too. The 70s was getting a little weird, but they were experimenting and getting a little crazy at that time too. But yeah, like
W-
62 is really that like
What about the
Catalina Century 21.
what about the El Dorado? That is the weirdest bow ever.
I've never got to shoot one, and every time I
Okay.
see one, it goes for a little bit more than I'd like to get because I like the high risk grip. I'm kind of picky when it comes to my grip, so it'd be interesting. I hate to buy one and be like, oh, I hate it. I hate shooting this. I gotta sell it again
So
now.
let me explain to the listeners an El Dorado, it's a takedown that Damon Howard came out with, I think 71, maybe
Yeah,
earlier,
sounds about right.
70. However, it was a weird magnesium riser with an offset handle. So it went to the side. So you got a main riser, and then you've got this handle that's off to the side. And you're like, how the hell am I stringing this thing? You got to
Yeah, I
hold
guess I never
the
even thought about that part.
right. I got a couple in the shop to fix for people.
Oh
And
boy.
what you got to do is you got to grab the main body of the riser to string
Yeah,
it.
like the hoop part. Yeah.
Yeah, or you're going to be, like a monkey having sex with a football. It's a
Yeah.
mess.
Even shooting those always just thinking about shooting one of those always just like kind of hurt my brain and like how things would twist. But I've heard they shoot okay and they're fine. But
They shoot
when I
great, but they delaminate
oh really the
horrendously.
limbs
Yep.
too dynamic, too much curve or something or
Too much curve, and not
yeah
enough glue. Not enough glue. So whoever was
interesting.
building them probably was cheap. Uh, bow builders out there, beware. You cannot have enough glue.
No,
Glue is your
always
friend.
extra glue. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. It's like too much cologne, too much glue.
yeah,
Yeah. I even put cologne on for this podcast.
yeah.
Uh,
I remember my first bow. I was just, you really lay that glue thick on there, and even still, it's always you're right. It's always good to have extra. You lay extra like thick lines down the middle to double and triple make sure. But those beginning ones, I was wasting like a whole quart on one bow and just like sanding inches off the side. I've gotten to a point now where it's definitely too much, but I'm not wasting a half a can or whatever on it, which is saving me a lot of money
right.
and time saving.
You built enough bows that you know.
Yeah,
Now some of your bows that I've seen, you've built them with horizontal laminations in the main stripe lamination.
yeah.
How
I
did
got
that
that
how did that come to be?
design. You ever see a Black Hawk Chief from like
Hmm.
I think 68, 69 they did it. It's actually more complicated than the one I do. They have like two rows of those going up and they alternate like red, black
Oh
and black
wow.
and white. Yeah, so they actually like double what I did. They did a center layer and then two going all around that. So that's where the inspiration came from. I was like, "Oh, I like that." Way hard. Like the first time I did it was way harder than I expected it would be to be getting everything perfect and getting like almost zero clearance issues between the fiberglass, so nothing sliding and there's no moving around when you clamp it and put heat to it. Otherwise, everything's going to try to escape. So trial and error. I'm still getting better at it. The one I've recently done is a lot better. Actually, got that right here. Is changing up simple things
Mm.
like these lines in between. They're the ones you're talking about. I used maple last time for those, and it was weird once you started clamping this and crushing it. They would want to do weird things if they were a hair too long. The fiberglass would crush them and they rotate or something weird. So the white fiberglass, meaning the white actually gives you a nice clean square every time, which
Sure.
I think coming out better. And now it's got extra maple strips on both sides to give it a little bit more dimension and whatnot. This
Yeah.
one's the cocobolo and zebra wood.
That's going to be
So
beautiful.
we're hoping this darkens up a lot. It should when
Oh,
it's
it
all
will.
finished.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. The customer asked for it, and I was like, "Yeah, I could do that, no problem." And I showed him like raw pictures of it. He's like, "Oh, I thought it was gonna be way darker than that." He's like, "I thought it was gonna look more like the wenge you had." And I was like, "It won't be
Yeah.
as dark as the wenge, but it'll
Hit it
definitely be way, way
hit it
dark."
with solvent and send him a picture.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I had to do to show him a picture. I was just showing him rough stuff, and he was like, "Oh no, did we make a mistake?" Because this Coca Cola was $78 a board foot, so it was like
I
a
know.
close to $100 worth of Coca Cola. So I was pretty nervous, even like ordering it if he wasn't sure.
When I
But he's
started
like, "This is
building
what it
bows, Coca-Cola was $40 a square foot. And that was 30, 40 years ago.
That's from Rosewood Shop, and from what I've gathered, if they're charging that much, it's because it's worth it. It's a really nice
Oh,
piece, and
well,
you're going to get a
yeah.
chunk.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Mike
So
over
with
there, Mike at Rosewood Shop, I cannot say enough good things about them.
I
Phenomenal
feel the
customer
exact same
service,
way.
great products, no BS.
10 out of 10 so far. No disappointments. But
Right.
yeah, like I said, if it's a little bit more pricey, I don't even second guess it because it's gonna be a quality piece when it shows up, and I'm not gonna have to worry about it.
So of your bows, you have specific models named.
It's really just this one for now. I mean, I wouldn't even give it a full name. I'm kind of nicknaming it the Ace, like American Classic Edition. Plus,
Okay.
it's based off of the Ventura roughly, so the Ace Ventura, like Pet Detective. I grew up on those movies, so it's like a double entendre play
Oh
on
yeah,
words
yeah,
kind
yeah.
of a. So it's kind of what it's
And I'm
colloquially
familiar with
referred to.
that because of my sons and my kids.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm not a big fan of Jim Carrey. Trust me. Uh,
Back then, I mean, he was all the rage. Nowadays, he's kind of whatever. He's just playing all the Sonic movies.
well, I liked him in where he was the cop, the New Jersey State Trooper, and
Oh,
he was
yes, 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 yes.
yeah. And then what was the other? He had like three black kids where he's crapping on the guy's lawn. And what the hell movie was that?
Not remembering that one.
Oh my god!
He was in
And
everything back then,
Renee
though.
Zellweger was in it too. Oh my god! But at any rate, yeah, he made some crazy movies. Um, so of your, why did you choose Damon Howitt? Let's go there. Damon Howitt's a prolific design, but I don't see anybody else building that bow except you.
I mean, that's kind of the reason for doing it. That's what I wanted, and there was no one you could really go to even kind of even talk about making something like that. I can't think of a major company that makes a one-piece 66-inch plus with white glass. I mean, with like a Target style riser or big style riser, it's just not something that's really being pushed anymore. So, like I said, and just getting that first Damon Howitt and being hooked on Damon Howitt for so long, even if I closed my eyes and tried to make a bow with my own inspiration, it would come out looking Damon Howitt-esque because that's all I ever held or looked at or admired. So
Okay.
it's always going to rub off on it a little bit.
Let me ask you a question. If I wanted a 62-inch, could you make me one?
It would just be a new design form, yeah. I mean, I really don't see why. Like the riser itself cut up would be exactly the same because the Hunter and the Ventura, for the most part, are identical when it comes to risers, just the limb profile. It's
Okay.
just a matter of making a new form. That a lot of bow making comes down to how good your form is. So
Oh yeah.
it's hit and
I
miss with that. I'm getting better with that as well, but the confidence to just be like, I can knock that out first try isn't quite there yet. But
I've
it
had
would be
guy,
relatively similar to this one, so it wouldn't be too drastic of a change.
I've had
And
guys like
I
go
do
on
offer this one in a 64. You can get like 66 or 64. So 64,
64.
I'll take that inch off each side, and then I think it's a quarter-inch taper piece I'll insert in the form just to bring that angle back out, and you just end up with a little bit snappier. It's not overall that dynamic. I haven't got to speed test them side by side, so I'm interested to see this one I'm making is gonna be a 64. So it'll be interesting to see if it gains or how much speed it gains. It probably will gain speed, but how much?
Have you messed around with reverse tapers?
No. The first bow and the second bow I did because Damon Howitt's known for doing dual tapers.
Mm-hmm.
So thinning in the middle, getting thicker out on both sides. So I did that and experimented with that. And I didn't find myself getting too much of a drastic difference. I mean, there's definitely a little bit of a feel, but in terms of performance and a hard stacking or anything like that, there wasn't enough for me to justify continue doing it. I'm running normal 0.001 tapers and everything now. So it's got a slight taper, but it's not too crazy.
Mm-hmm.
But when you run the underlays and overlays, like how it's run, I do the same thing. You are stiffening up that end part of the limb. So when you have a thick taper at the bottom, even though it's getting thin down here, you have a bunch of extra wood and glue at the end anyway. So you're making a thick, thin system anyway. It's just
Okay.
probably not as detailed as Damon Howitt's because they never gave like a specific angle or anything. They just had some
Right.
kind of jig that they used and did it for everything and never released that. So you could guess all you want and try to figure it out, but it might take you years to do that.
I get it. I totally get it. I've built several bows in my lifetime. I do not plan on building any more. However, you ever heard of Jack Howard, Game Master
Yes.
Jet? Okay.
Yes.
I own the blueprints to his bows. And
Interesting.
yeah, his widow sent those to me. I years ago he had like 7 or 8 bows in the shop, 10 bows actually that needed to be finished, and he died. So his widow found me and said, "Hey, can you finish these bows and sell them for me?" Okay, no problem.
Yeah, helping her
And
out.
Yeah, so I helped her out. I finished them, sold them on eBay, gave her all the proceeds. All I asked for was my listing fees. Well, and thank you. She sent me all his blueprints.
That's crazy.
Yeah, so I could build these bows, but I'm at a point in my life. Do I want to build bows or do I want to repair and refinish? Building bows, I got to get an LLC, the whole 9 yards. I'm like,
Yeah, it gets expensive quick.
yeah. So I don't know. I'm still working on that. You know what I'm
Yeah,
going. You
blueprints
kind
are a
of
good place
you
to start.
you kind of have an idea what I'm going to do.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but I mean that's a great place to start. I mean, you have more than what most people have. I remember I was talking to Jason Dulac not that long ago because he's on your thing as well, and he was like, "Well, I got like a bunch of forms from I can't even remember. It was a well-known self-bowyer or whatever." He's like, "I got a bunch of forms that are like perfect, ready to go," and I was like, "That's the hard part. Like, well, not the hardest part, but if you have that, you're one huge step ahead. Like, you don't have to worry about anything. Those are like tried and true forms. You don't have to worry about anything getting weird or any complications there. So."
Right.
It's a great place to start. Even if you just have blueprints, you blow those blueprints, you put them on a piece of plywood, and you get your form out of it. You're golden.
Yeah, you can improve upon anything.
Yeah.
I'm of the mindset. So you've made some epic builds that I've seen. What has been your most challenging one?
Well, the only other design that I've actually gone through 100% besides this one was I was working on a kind of a revamp of an original wing presentation. So going with that riser design, like real thin, real long, not too wide or whatever crazy,
My
but I
my
wanted to
fa-
change.
my favorite bow of all time.
Yeah, it's just another classic throwback. So, just something that everyone would notice and be like, "Wow, there it is." Make it like an outlaw, give it the whole 9 yards. I wanted to change. I was going to make it a little bit less dynamic, just to calm it down a little bit and just do what I can to change it up and see how I felt. But that form just wanted to play with me and play with me and play with me, and it was four glue ups that just were just coming out and getting cut up and getting scrapped. Yeah, I got them right here. Depressing real quick, just constantly cutting off limbs, kind of like
Oh
you just see like
wow. Yeah.
yeah, because you want to save the expensive piece of wood in the middle, so you're always just like, oh, that's not going to work, that's not going to work. Maybe I'll do something with these eventually. They're okay working ends of limbs, but to do four of those in a row was very disheartening, would be a good word for it. And
Yeah.
I was like, do I keep just trying to do this and power through it, or when do I stop wasting money and just go back to what I know works? So it took four bows for me to do that. And luckily, with that other form, everything I've ever put in there came out pretty nice, and it's never given me any issues. So
So of
it's
the
definitely,
well, let me ask you of those limbs, what's wrong with them?
I was having real problems getting the everything to seat around the fade perfectly. I was getting real bad gaps in that area, and if if they were close, you can get away and just kind of look at it, and maybe it'll bend right. But once they get big, they'll just snap there because there's weird torsion with the core material in there if it's not seated properly and glued together with that tension. So as soon as you would try to string it up, they would just snap because all that was holding it was the unglued core material.
So are
So
we
every time I was
looking
trying to close it and close it and close it, and it just wasn't working.
so all right, the limbs, are we talking a presentation two, the takedown?
No, these are presentation ones. It was trying to be a one
Oh,
piece,
I
but
would
yeah,
make it I would
my
take those
fades were.
and make it a two.
I was talking to my buddy about that. Who knows everything better? They're pretty short because of where the fade was, so
Oh, fast
it'd
as
be
hell.
interesting. It would be. I talked about it because I have three of them, and they're all heavier weight. So it'd be interesting to try to just, even if I just roughly fit them to a P2 or a Carroll's riser. I got a couple Carroll's risers laying around. Yeah, it would probably be really fast and really nasty. So that's the only reason those are saved and still laying here and not like in the
Oh
trash, so I don't
yeah.
think about them.
Yeah, buddy. Yeah.
They could possibly be used.
I'm salivating.
Yeah.
I'm excited because I love the P2 takedown. That's my
Oh yeah.
favorite bow of all
Great
time.
bow. Yeah. I love the
And
Carroll's riser. In my opinion, has one of the best metal grips ever. So
yeah.
there was many years I was trying to find a metal Damon Howitt takedown. There's not many of them. Martin made a couple recurve takedowns, but I was like, I really want something Damon Howitt that I could have metal and like take camping or take on a plane that I can just go anywhere with and not worry about having an extra set of limbs for. And years of looking, and I eventually learned what a Carroll's Lewis was and had an opportunity to buy one and never looked back. I have two or three of them now. They're great, extra limbs. Always shoots great, always on target. And you can get earlier Carroll's limbs that were made by Howitt.
Sure. Yeah.
So it's just, there's a little bit of a Howitt touch there anyway. So I got to have my Howitt
And
medal
the
takedown.
West Coast people hand in hand all the
Oh,
time.
yeah.
So, did you know? Well, you probably saw my podcast with Don Poppy a couple of weeks ago, where he's reintroduced the Gentleman Jim takedown.
No, most, I'm way behind on most of your watchers because, as you know, I didn't even know traditional archery podcasts were a thing 3 weeks ago until you invited me on. I was like, hold on a second. So I've been trying to catch up and watch everything. I watched Jason's episodes and Josh's
Yeah.
episodes just so I could be up to date, but I miss a lot still.
All right. Well, when you get a chance, check it out. It's
So
Don
he's remaking
Poppy.
the Gentleman Jim in metal, like
Yeah.
a aluminum.
Yeah.
Huh?
Dude, it's powder coated, camouflage, the whole 9 yards. They're flying
Really?
off the shelves. Yeah.
Huh? And it's a
And
normal ring P2 limb setup. All
no,
right on.
it's whatever
Oh,
they
okay.
did back then because he met, oh, who the hell was it? The guy that shot Phil Grable.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And Phil gave him the green light to make that bow again.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's amazing. And I got a couple of buddies that I know have shot them, and the reports coming back are outstanding.
Yeah, it's pretty hard to mess up a good design. That's why I went with the Howitt's too. It'd be pretty hard to butcher it and make it less or really bad in any way.
Now, with your bows, are you planning anything new for the future, or are you sticking with your platform that you're at?
I'm always thinking about new stuff. I have 20 bows ish worth of that old white fiberglass. So that's an
Hmm.
interesting story in itself. I'll grab that box actually. This is old fiberglass.
Is that the 3M glass?
No, it's old Gordon BioTough.
Okay.
So this one doesn't have the right label on it. Maybe I won't be able to check it now. But it was from Stemler Archery, bought by Wing Archery in the late 80s, early 90s. And you know El Bosco, Dr. Bob, right?
Oh, yeah.
So he had bought the company and got a lot of the extra materials and whatnot. And he saw me getting into wanting to make bows, and he came by one day and was like, "Here's all this glass, and it's really good old BioTough, Golden BioTough, and the old vintage stuff. It has that nice look to it, and it ended up being just the perfect length to do, like the shorter stuff being the belly and the longer stuff being the back, so it worked out perfect. So I was like, I have enough to do 20 of these kind of like classic runs, and then from there we'll see what happens. I definitely want to do like a shorter hunting bow, something more affordable and just fast, some kind of maybe hybrid and just like a basic longbow. I'm not looking to be a one-stop shop for everything. If people like this Damon Howitt style and they want it in a modern material, there's someone who can do it now. Who knows? Damon Howitt might start doing this in 2 years and start making a venture, and then there'll be no place for this because why would you buy this? I get it.
Right.
But
I
we're basing
totally,
all of this
yeah.
for something else. I'm just filling in this little niche market because there are people who want it and just can't get it right now.
Well, while we're talking about what you're building, can we see a couple of bows that you built?
Yeah. That's the one I just showed you not that long ago, but this is the Wendy
Yeah,
Zebra Wood.
dude, that's
We
freaking
got a nice
amazing.
knife
And it's got
edge.
a knife edge sight window. Look at
Yeah.
that. That
And,
is
these extra little things pop in there and make it look real nice.
that is orgasmic.
All
That's
the nice
amazing.
angles and everything.
Oh my
Ooh,
God.
ooh. Like I said, we didn't get too lucky on the zebra wood with this one. The zebra wood wasn't like a crazy figuring or anything, but that wench is super dark and
Oh
beautiful.
yeah. Yep. And it's a very
And the
strong
thickness
wood.
is real nice.
Very
Yeah,
strong wood.
it
Yep.
was super interesting to work with and cut with. That was probably some of the toughest wood I've ever had to get through. The wench being as dense as it
It's
was.
a bitch to work with too.
Yeah. The Coco Bolo was surprising. What I'm working on now, the Coco Bolo is actually surprisingly, forgiving and
Mhm.
gets through and stands kind of nice. I'm surprised. It just definitely irritates your eyes more as soon as you take
Well,
off the
I
goggles.
was
And
gonna ask you
it's
if
like
you've had
bright orange floating in the air and it makes you worry just by like visual association.
I was gonna
But
ask
it's
you
got a nice
have
smell.
you had any physical chemical reactions?
I mean, they say whenever you're working with like exotics like this, they say to expect most of everything. It's going to irritate your nose and your eyes because it's got the weird oils in it that us Caucasian people in America aren't used to if you're dealing with African foreign woods and whatnot. So I'm always expecting it. I wear goggles and masks and everything, but it's still small in here. When I take it off when I'm done, I'm like, uh-oh, that's not good.
Yeah, I've never had any problems. I don't know. I'm different than most people.
Uh, I've
I
never
don't
had like
have.
a crazy reaction where I needed to like get out of there immediately, but you could feel it sometimes.
So what are you using? Let's talk finishes. What are you using for
Okay.
finish? Finish.
Minwax. I mean, I used to pre-mix everything. I used to buy just like the big gallon of it that you would use to finish your deck and buy a bunch of mineral spirits, and I would have like a 50-50 mix, 33 6 or 66, 25 75% mix for different temperatures, humidities, just to, keep the drying time down, runs down and whatnot. Now I'm kind of just eyeballing it nowadays. Depending on if I need the wood to get darker, if I want it to soak, I can add linseed oil. You just add a little bit of that with some more mineral spirits and thin everything down. But I've had really good luck with it. It's cheap, it's efficient, it's durable. It yellows a little bit, but I like that vintage amber look anyway. It's not like it
Sure.
turns like pea. It doesn't turn pea yellow and like unusable. It just gets a little bit of that amber. Some people hate it. I don't mind it.
So
For
let me ask you that.
satin, no, go ahead.
Oh, all right. So with Minwax and using turpentine or whatever it is, reducer, have you noticed anything with crazing in the finish on the limbs or anything?
Not so much. No.
Okay.
I keep my coats not to a minimum, but there's a level where if you just go crazy with it, you're gonna get some weird stuff regardless. And I try to keep it 3 coats, and if I can, I try not to sand between coats.
Okay.
If I can keep it dust free and clean, it seems to come out like more glass like and clear if I can just lay them right over top of each other. Summertime, that's easier. You got that 2 hour dry time. Winter, you're waiting like 8 hours, 7 hours per
Mhm.
coat. So it's all a big waiting game when it comes to that. Things definitely slow down in the winter, but
Yeah. Yeah, I get it. I'm using a
I,
catalyzed varnish. So my nemesis is humidity. So
yeah.
this week, excuse me, this week I have a storm off the coast that is causing us very low humidity. So
Oh, really? Oh, yeah, that big hurricane. Yeah.
I'm a spraying maniac this week. Um,
Oh, that's right. I use wipe on. I used to spray. I had a spray booth. I had like a downdraft spray booth. I used to have a
mhm.
paint gun. I usually do like 4 to 6 bows every 2 weeks. So I'll
Okay.
do 3 or 4 at a time. And you need a big spray boat to do something like that. Wipe on, I found it. I can just be more efficient in processing bow after bow after bow if I'm just doing wipe on. And, you keep one rag and you just go through
Right.
everything. So it was nice to do spray boots and not have to like do multiple different coats on different days and just be able to nail it out and have it done. It was really nice. But it just ends up working better with the volume I do to just do wipe on. It ends up being way cheaper, and it's what I'm used to now at this point too. It's been like 7, 8 years of doing that, so I've
Okay.
gotten relatively comfortable and I can just do it with my eyes closed and just go through it.
Yeah, I've my old spray booth back home in Maryland, I could do six at a time. Now I'm lucky if I can get two. I've got a spray
Yeah.
booth in my yard, but two at a time. That's it. So that slows me up a lot. I still work full time. Um, yeah, so it is what it is, and I'm at the mercy of Florida humidity.
Yes,
Um,
that's the real killer. If you gotta play with humidity and temperature, which is why I end up kind of going with Minwax because
yeah,
in my opinion, it's like the most forgiving when it comes to that. Like I can do it in a cold, rainy, snowy day if I want to. I'm just waiting longer.
yeah,
It'll still harden. It'll give me the same durability. It might have a little bit more haziness to it, but it's still going to be a good finish.
yeah. I agree. It's the same thing with me. It's just pick and choose my battles. I mean,
Exactly.
I could
Whatever you're
spray a
comfortable
bow
with.
if I'm in a hurry and I got to spray a bow that's pretty much black phenolic. Man, big mistake. If the humidity's
Yeah.
high, the finish is gonna turn milky, and then I gotta redo what I hate redoing stuff, and I hate repeating myself when I speak.
Yeah, that's the same thing
So
too. Yeah.
yeah, it's a
Well,
pain in the ass.
that's a good point you bring up too. If you're doing a bow that happens to be like half phenolic, half wood, you got to account for that. If I'm using wipe on, that kind of messes with me a little bit because the wood's gonna soak it up and the phenolic's not. So I'm gonna get like weird. I either have to lay it on heavy on one side or at that
Right.
point sometimes I do just spray it. I can pour in my 50-50 min wax into a spray gun and spray it that way. I can get spray paint can or the min wax cans. That gives you more of a satin finish if someone wants that. But yeah, you're always just fighting the weather and trying to do things at an efficient, rate and doing what you
Right.
can.
Right. Unless you own a body shop and you've got a downdraft system, you
Yeah, and you can just sit there all day pumping them out and have people bringing to you and taking them out. But as
right.
soon as you got to do everything yourself, you really got to slow down. And like you said, redoing anything 2 or 3 times is where you're losing all your.
Well, it's amazing that a lot of people don't understand what it takes to do this. to
Yeah.
refinish a bow or,
Yeah.
repair and refinish. It's more than just, smoke and mirrors. I mean, Jesus
Yeah.
Christ.
It's
So
not like you're
lots of,
getting a dent out of a bumper and you're just sand and pulling and painting.
no, doesn't work that way.
Yeah, a lot
Um,
of aging, a lot of sun damage, a lot of all kinds of other stuff. And the curves on a bow are just crazy. All the contouring you're constantly working around, holes you're filling. It's a
mhm.
whole
It's a process.
crazy
It's a
object in itself.
process.
Yeah,
It's a process.
exactly. You got to break it down in steps.
So, of the bows you've built and the bows that you played with, what woods are the worst? What's your favorite and
Hmm.
what's the worst?
I've been very partial to zebra wood recently. I don't know. It seems to be cheap, consistent. It performs well, and when you're shaping something as dramatically as like what these are, the weird figuring in it is always going to kind of impress you. It's kind of hard to get like a bad piece that looks boring when it comes to zebra wood. I mean, if I
Right.
could get Brazilian rosewood and crazy things for an affordable price, I would do that. But for what we can get and for what kind of has a good reputation, because Damon Howitt, 90s and early 2000s, was obsessed with zebra wood.
Oh yeah. All
Everything,
right. Yep.
limb core material, risers, they were doing everything zebra wood because Larry Hatfield said like that was the best. So a part of that stuck with me too. It's a good performance wood. It always seems to look good, and it's normally not breaking the bank. Woods I don't like, I really haven't met anything that's given me too much of a problem. Every time I've tried to use bamboo cores, it just seems to, those are mostly the failed ones. But that's probably not the bamboo's fault. I was just using a new weird form. I normally use black locust just because it's more of a local thing and it's not really too heard of in bow core material. And I seem to be having really good luck with it with this glass and glue combo. So it's something different and it just seems to be working. So I'm going to keep with it. But I
Sweet.
really wouldn't say with any wood that like makes me angry or I won't touch. If anything, it's like the old Marcata and whatnot. Your old P2s that want to separate because half's Marcata and half's wood, and they swell at different rates or stuff like that. Like that'll get on your nerves. But
The wood that got on my nerves was wanky.
wanky, never
Yeah.
worked with it.
Oh, you did earlier. You showed me a picture.
Oh, wenge. Yeah,
Wench.
sorry.
All right.
Yeah.
Everybody calls it wangy or wenge.
I've never heard it
Whatever.
called wanky. Yeah, no, that was interesting. And like I said, it was definitely harder. And I mean, I'm not running with like huge industrial tools. I have a 10-inch table saw, a 16-inch bandsaw. So like when you get like a 2.25 inch block of that, and you got to make a big rib cut down that, and
Right.
you don't know what it's like yet, and you just read online horror stories, like you're definitely nervous every new piece of wood you're putting in there. And that was definitely the one to fight, and you're just sitting there sweating, like, am I pushing too hard? Am I not pushing hard enough? Is it going to come
Right.
back
And
and hit me in the gut?
there's smoke coming off the
Yeah, no,
blade.
oh yeah.
Yeah.
I do this in my hay barn and it just fills with smoke. Especially zebra wood. If I'm rip cutting it on the bandsaw, it's just gonna smoke. There's brand new blade, right teeth and everything. It's gonna smoke. It's just gonna burn a little bit, and this hay barn will fill with smoke.
Yeah, I love it. And people like they walk. I've got neighbors that do a lot of walks, and they see stuff come, smoke and shit coming out of
Yeah,
my garage because I got the garage door open. And they're like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "Come on!" And I show them.
yeah.
And like, "Wow, we never
Those,
knew this stuff existed." So I'm educating people that have no idea that this
yeah,
hobby or trade even existed.
yeah,
And I got this
yeah.
guy
When I
that comes over quite a bit. He's like, he wants to see stuff. I'm like, all right, come on. I said, I need a new assistant, by the way.
there you go. Get
I
there,
can't pay. I can't
get the
pay you.
standard.
I can give you beer.
There's
That's
no
about
money in
it.
it, but
I can feed you in beer. But
yeah, an extra set of hands is, even though like you won't have like you won't see me like a full-time worker in here. My first glue up, I had my mom like just there with an extra set of hands to like hand me
yeah,
glue or
yeah,
washcloth when
yeah,
I'm covered
yeah.
in sticky. And if I wouldn't have had that, that first bow probably wouldn't have worked out. It probably would have been me throwing stuff and getting frustrated and not even finishing it. But just having that extra set of hands there. But then as you get better, you get more comfortable. It's almost more efficient to not have that other person in the way once you know what you're doing and you just go to it,
Yeah.
not have to worry about working around somebody. So I
So
mean,
my wife has been like a videographer in the past, and she hates it. So
okay,
I invested in an AI 360 camera.
okay.
I'm still waiting for it. So what it does
Oh,
is it follows me around the room and will look over my shoulder and video. So I have two hands free.
was like, does it go on your shoulder or like clip on your hat or something
No,
or what?
it's on a tripod and it zooms out,
Oh, it's
zooms in.
360, so it's
Yeah,
just
it
okay. Okay.
does
Hmm.
whatever it wants when I tell it to. I'm still
Well,
waiting for
interesting.
it. It's coming from Europe, so we'll see.
Better
Uh,
be nice.
yeah, I hope it is. Fingers crossed, you know.
Well,
So
I saw you doing those YouTube shorts, and you seem to have, your hands available enough to, rotate
well
that around and get everything done.
that's me holding the phone here, and I'm going
So
lefty.
you're just doing everything on one hand,
Yeah,
hoping it worked out.
yeah, and these are shorts I found that were in my cloud. I'm not
Oh,
doing
okay.
anything. None of the stuff that I'm posting is new stuff. It's stuff that I posted but got forgotten.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's weird.
Yeah, I like the idea of that little, just take like a 2 minute walk around a random bow, just like pick it up, go around and give
right.
your like general opinion of it. Because if you Google search Carol's Lewis recurve, you get like a half a page of results, and half of that's like blurry eBay pictures, and you're not going to get any good info or like
Nothing.
reference. But with one little 2 minute video like you put up, you get everything you could ever need if you were curious about looking at it, and you can just see it in someone's hand and get their opinion real quick, real simple.
Yeah. So anytime I get my hands on a bow that a
Yeah, it's
customer
the perfect
sends
time to
me,
do it. Yeah,
yeah, I take a video of it. It's all right. Here we got this, guys.
yeah,
Um,
it's a good idea.
I've got a ton of bows that I could
Sure.
do over the next coming weeks. I like to intermix the shorts with these interviews.
Yeah.
By the way, folks, this is going to drop next Tuesday. So I will, of course, I will promote it. And it's up to you, folks. You need to like and subscribe.
Do
It,
it.
it helps me keep my mustache trimmed. Um, so, any nightmare builds for you?
So
Was there
like I said, just that
one
just
bow
that
that
link
beat the
presentation.
that beat the crap out of you?
Yeah, like I said, that was just like that was more of an emotional thing, just getting kicked in the gut over and over, and really just having to make that call of when to put that aside and go back to doing other stuff.
Sure.
And I'm very happy I did when I did, and just. But the interesting thing is, this riser that you were looking at before, the Wengen Zebra, this was actually the riser for that Wing P1. It happened to be that riser was going to be 32 inches, so it was longer than this riser. So after I had given up on that and just got frustrated, I was able to shorten that down to 28 inches to fit this, and ended up putting this little cap on all this whole thing to make it wide enough to fit in that form. So
That
I ended
thing's
up getting I ended up getting something very decent out of it anyway. It just wasn't the big beautiful wing presentation one this was supposed to be originally.
that's amazing, that bow. That's just so beautiful.
Yeah, it's so cool. I was
Now,
super happy when it came out.
so
I'm
you
I'm
have that's your premier version, correct?
Yeah, this is pretty much as nice as it could get. I mean, there's a couple things I'm thinking about doing to make it a little bit whatever. Damon Howitts will typically bring this, accent stripe towards the grip so you get that cool little X there. But with how
Right.
this came about, I couldn't really get it back far enough. So I'm working on just inching that back a little bit so we can really actually see that
Or
there. And
add right, just add another
yeah,
lamination
or
of
I
right.
was even thinking about that too, just adding one more, just a simple one there with maple and white, just to have something there to give you that X. But like I said, this came from a mistake. So the fact that this even glued up and became anything to begin with is exciting to me. And,
To me, it's
it's
amazing.
beautiful.
I'm in love with it. I love it.
Only 32 pounds, but it's a target bow. It wasn't supposed to be anything too crazy. But I was able to take them. I was at Appalachian Bowmen this weekend, and they have like a chronograph set up. So I had all of those there, and I had 10 GPP arrows for each one. And I got to test everything rigorously, and get an average. And everything's 165 across the board with B55. So I'm happy with that. That's kind of what the Damon Howitts back then were shooting with B55 anyway. So
Sure.
mission kind of accomplished. I didn't blow the doors off it or anything, but most people that shoot it tell me it's nice and smooth, dead in the head and balanced. I really wouldn't have. This was something I made for me. I really wouldn't be like pushing this or even like going as crazy as I am if I haven't had so many people pick it up and tell me like this shoots surprisingly well and
Well,
like
I mean,
it's outperforming what most people are expecting. So most people are giving me very good reception when they handle it or get to shoot it. So
I
it's worth
learned
pursuing, in my
I
opinion.
learned about you through first and foremost Mike Bush, the late Mike Bush. God bless you. And then I learned about you through other guys that are into Damon Howitz. And I'm like, that's when I reached out to you and said, man, we got to talk because I'm a major collector. I don't collect anymore. I'm just too old. Um,
Yeah,
it's just one of those things. It's just like, man, you are amazing.
thank
Um,
you.
so let's change gears. Let's talk about bow hunting. Are you a bow hunter?
Okay. I am a bow hunter. I wouldn't classify myself as the hardcore, full camo, go out to public land every weekend hunter, but we have a 5 acre farm here with quarter-acre vegetable garden and probably an acre worth of fruit trees. And we're surrounded by 100 acres of cornfield and 200 acres of soybeans. So
Right.
we have bears, foxes, deers, groundhogs, rabbits, the whole 9 yards. Deer don't really come in and mess up my garden or mess with my fruit trees, so I generally don't chase them. We have like 12 to 15 does that are always roaming around and bedding on the property, but they're never causing any problems. We have
So,
thousands of rabbits that'll destroy the garden in a day, so that's my favorite thing to hunt is just rabbits. It's
mhm.
5 acres. I could take a walk around the horse pastures here and take 6 to 7 good shots on rabbits, and by the time I start my next lap, there's 10 more in different positions, and I can just keep going and going and going. And that's my kind of, I got to rush out of that. I'm not just sitting
Well,
around waiting for a deer all day. With that being said, I do have 2 tree stands out back with like, I keep my hunting books and magazines up in there. And I love just going up there for a couple hours and sitting and waiting. But I've never got a deer, never even really got a good, perfect shot on a deer to even say, I was chasing them or anything.
I got a funny story.
Okay.
I took my wife bow hunting. We in our old house in Maryland, we had, the back 40, if you will. It's about
Okay.
87 acres. And
That's a lot.
I want to go bow hunting. I'm like, you okay? I thought I had a fever or something. So she go, I want to go bow hunting. So all right. So I set her up. We got worked up into the shooting and all that stuff in the yard. Got her set up. I said, all right, we got to get up at like 5 in the morning. Okay. Got her up. I didn't even pay attention. It just got the bow. She's got a quiver, the whole 9 yards. She's got my camo coveralls on, and we go and we're going to stop at this huge oak tree that's right on the edge of this cornfield, and the deer just walk past it all day long.
Mhm.
I said, you're going to go up there. It's probably maybe 12 feet up. And, everything was there, steps and everything. So easy for her to climb into. And
Yeah.
I said, and I hooked the bow up to the rope and she pulled it up. And there's a hook. She can hang the bow up there. I did not know she had a book on her. So I continue on into my stand in the woods, but I've got binoculars. And I said around 9:30, this massive 10 pointer is going to walk under your stand. That's when you need to stand up and draw back and shoot this thing between the shoulder blades. Okay, no big deal. So I'm sitting in my stand, and I'm going back 20 something years ago, and I'm looking at her through the binoculars, and I look down. Here comes a 10 pointer walking down. I'm like, holy shit, she needs to get up. She's reading her book. I'm like, what the hell is she doing? Reading her book, reading her book. The buck walks under her stand and just continues on. I kill the buck. It walked past me, so I killed it.
Yeah.
So I said to her when I go to pick her up, I said, did you see that buck? "No, what are you talking about?" I said, it walked past you. It had like 12 yards. Oh, I don't know. So I wasn't mad, but I was like, well, I killed it. So
Yeah, we still got it.
yeah, we got it. But if you're
Must
going to
have been a really
bow,
good book.
yeah, it was really nice. It was 150 class. Uh, she's like, well, I don't know if I can do this. I was like, what do you mean? She goes, it's kind of boring. I was like, a 10 pointer walked under your stand. How can that be boring? Had you
You're
seen
reading
that
the book
10
the whole
pointer,
time.
your heart would have jumped out of your throat.
Yeah, too
But
busy
nah,
in the book.
it was hilarious. But that was my one and only hunting date. The last hunting
It
date
didn't,
we
didn't
had.
go
Yeah.
that high. Yeah,
Yeah, it
last
is what it
time.
is. That's fine. But she loves the fact that I go hunting, and she supports it. And it's like, whatever. Because I come back from my hunts and there's boxes and boxes of Amazon stuff on the front porch.
So yeah, keep you busy, keeps her free.
Yeah, yeah, that's cool. It's all good.
Yeah, I was always an animal person, and pets and whatnot, and I raised birds and all kinds of nonsense. So I mean, I've never been like a hardcore animal killer, but at the same time, we live on the family farm. We have meat chickens. I'm the one who has to cut all the heads off. I'm the one shooting goats in the head when it's time for them to be put down or whatever. So you just kind of learn, like, and with these rabbits destroying all of your vegetables, you can't just let them go and do that. Or
Yeah.
You start letting bears and raccoons and skunks and foxes get comfortable, you're going to have way more of them, and then they're going to start chasing horses around. You're going to have bigger problems. So you just learn to
You
things
know,
need to be done.
and people ask me too. They're like, "How can you hunt and kill animals?" I mean, I got a lot of non-hunters that get on
Yeah,
my social media page. They're not rude. They're not rude at all. But they ask me, how? I said, because I consume them. And the
yeah.
reason
You
why
make it.
I said
Yeah,
there was a time where I had my wife and I had no money, zero. We were like robbing from Paul to pay Peter just to make
yeah,
ends meet. So this hunting fed our family, and I've
yeah.
continued.
Go ahead.
No, no, and she's
Uh,
more or less a vegan now.
oh,
So
really?
yeah, any deer I take now, it's just for myself.
Can't complain there then.
But it is what it is. I mean, I love having these conversations because I don't argue with people. I want to talk about the education and the biology and what they don't know. They don't know anything. They're just going on whatever the media is telling them, and I'm like, no, can't, you can't go on that. Like,
Yeah, most people are like, "Oh, don't hurt the bears or whatever," because the hunters have already done the hard work and reduced the populations to an acceptable level. If there was
no.
20 bears going through your trash can every night and chasing your kids around, you wouldn't be like, "Oh, save the grizzly bears" anymore. So it's
Well,
the hunters have already done the hard work, and people have already, done what they need to do for people to be overprotective of certain animal species.
well, as I don't know if you follow Florida news, but they just passed the first or the second bear hunt in the state in 10 years. Bears are a real problem. I mean, I live in a
Yeah.
rural area of Volusia County, Florida, which is outside of Daytona Beach.
Okay.
And it's a huge county and it's rural. I mean, talking really rural. And there's bears everywhere. I mean, lots of them, and they're big. Like we're talking 700 pounds because they eat garbage all day.
Yeah, yeah, they're getting big because of us, exactly.
They're obese. Like, hey, let me have some Burger King and some couple
And
of
they know
Whopper.
where to
Yeah.
they know where to go to get it.
Yeah, so people are like, oh, they're fighting. I watch these anti-hunters. I'm like, come on, man, get on
Yeah,
the program, learn about this.
yeah,
Don't
exactly.
wantonly have diarrhea of the mouth until you know what you're talking about.
Yep. But
But
like you were saying, I use everything as well. I have a large collection of furs. I like fur keeping and using furs for bow equipment or quivers and whatnot. And I probably, on a yearly basis, probably eat like 100 pounds worth of rabbit just because, they're quick and easy to process. I have them in the freezer.
are
I'm
they
on a
good?
high protein. Yeah, I deer or rabbit tacos all the time. Groundhog chili. I have a good groundhog chili recipe. I can keep my. I'm on a high protein, low sodium diet, like a strict one from my doctor. So protein's expensive, but not if you can just shoot a bunch of rabbits and groundhogs in the backyard and keep it
Yeah,
that way.
I'm a meat eater, and
Yeah,
I've eaten rabbit before, but it was at a restaurant, and it was kind of like prepared. It was kind of pouille fousse, if you will, for lack of a
yeah.
better term. And I was like, all right, this is boring. Give me a goddamn steak. So
Well, like
yeah,
earlier I said, I worked in the restaurant industry for 15 years. So there's also a challenge that I take on when I get to kill a new species and learn how to prepare it in a healthy way for myself that, most people can't figure out how to make something low sodium taste great. So it's an extra challenge to take a weird animal and make a good dish out of it. So,
well, what's ironic is my youngest boy, Jake, is I want to say a retired chef, and he works for NASA. But he knows how to cook, dude.
yeah.
And yeah, he totally understands what it takes to make stuff taste good.
Yeah.
Uh, so
It's a whole art in
I
itself.
learned from him. Yeah.
The
Uh,
oldest and hardest profession besides prostitution.
well, I'll stick with the food.
Yeah,
Because if I was a prostitute, I'd be hungry.
we all
Uh,
be, yeah, go ahead.
so, what's your favorite method to hunt?
That's a pretty good question. Because, like I said, roving and just going after rabbits. My favorite hunt that I usually go on like every year or whatever, we'll call it that or whatever, my vacation is I live probably 10, 15 minutes away from the Appalachian Mountains. And
Hmm.
the section that's closest to me happens to also be state game land. So I get my hunting license, pretty much the only reason I get my license. And I can go up there and I can through hike for 2 or 3 days and just get to stump shoot, hunt rabbits, and eat rabbits if I get them along the way and just be nice and quiet and up there. So that's probably my favorite hunt, just
Are you
walking and roving.
are you camping while you're doing that?
Yes.
Okay,
Backpack camping, yeah,
that's
whatever. Like I
badass.
bring a little bit of food with me, but I'm trying to get whatever I can eat and forage. But you need to figure out where the streams are along the way, and it's weird walking that legal tightrope between what you're legally allowed to do as a through hiker on the general Appalachian Trail and what you're allowed to do as a hunter in that specific Game Lands 168. So like I made sure I reached out to the local guy and got in touch with like the specialist game warden for that area and made sure I was doing everything legally so I don't happen to get in any trouble while I'm up there. But from what I gather, there's nothing really wrong with it. Just walking through the woods with your bow shooting stumps, getting a couple
Now,
rabbits.
now, do you follow any of the what's the word I'm looking for? The stuff on YouTube where guys are talking about living off the land?
Yeah, off grid type of stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. There's a dude. Oh God, his name is Greg something. I want to say not coffee, but this guy's nuts. I mean, this guy is crazy. But he's putting some great content out there, and I can't look it up now because if I change gears, let me look it up on my phone while I got you.
It kind of itches that primal urge to get out and explore something you're not familiar with or anything. So getting up on top of the Appalachian Mountains and just getting
Bushcraft video.
Oh.
There we go. Okay. Yep, bushcraft camping. Open. Boys YouTube channel. Yeah, there's a bunch of guys, Luke and some other guys, but bushcraft camping. You should check it out. Yeah, the guy's building self bows. He's trapping. He's camping. I mean, there's a couple episodes where he's eating steak and shrimp while he's bushcraft camping. Well, I don't know if he brought. That's not real.
Yeah.
But pick and choose your battles.
Yeah, exactly.
So.
Oh, you muted yourself. You muted yourself. I can't hear you. Okay. Still can't hear you. Oh. Nope. It still shows you as muted.
All right, you can hear me now?
Yes, now I can.
Son of a bitch. I mean, look, this software is a pain in the ass. So, like, if I do something or move anything or to check anything out,
I would be paranoid to touch anything.
Oh, dude, it kibosh. So, at any rate, I forgot what we were talking about. We were talking about bushcraft stuff.
Yes.
Anyway, let's just change gears again because I need to move on.
Yeah, so that's my favorite type of hunting.
So, what's your favorite bow setup for bow and arrow and broadhead?
For hunting, I love a good 64-inch, and I always try to keep it around. All of my hunting bows are 48 pounds pretty much on the dot, so I try to keep consistent in that area when it comes to practice and whatnot. Currently, I'm pretty sure I'm just running 2016 aluminums with either like a bare razorback, something old school. I have a couple wooden shafts too, but I try not to get like too crazy into like diving way too into arrow spines and everything. So I think you'll go crazy if you do.
Yeah.
So I mean, get something that works, get something you can get confident with, and just practice with it rather than trying to chase that perfect number and perfect tip weight because you'll just go insane. You'll never be happy.
There's guys out there just like constantly bombarding me with questions about FOC and stuff. It's like, dude, I've been bow hunting since 1974. So I'm still using the same crap I hunted in 74.
Yeah, well, you use what you're familiar with, yeah. Well,
and 99% of my shots are 7 to 8 yards. I don't shoot anything beyond that because I'm a better hunter than you are.
Yeah, you get close. Yeah, that's the point.
It's crazy. Some of the stuff I get is ridiculous. They want to scientifically beat it to death. And I'm like, come on, man.
Yeah,
This is not new. String
exactly.
walking,
Yeah.
target, whatever. Come on, man. You just
We've been doing this for 10,000 years. We have the rough
right.
stuff figured out. You're
Yeah,
not going to reinvent the wheel.
right. You're rehashing 1964. Okay.
Yes,
String walking.
exactly.
Okay. Put my string, drop it down. Oh, come on, man.
Yeah.
And that's gonna be the Randy Moss answer. Come on, man. You know, I love exposing people and their bullshit.
Yeah.
But that's me.
Like I
So
said,
let's go on. Go on.
I like to just keep it simple too. So for like my lighter bows, 30 to 40 pounds, just like an Easton 1816,
Hmm.
100 grain field point, keep it simple, cut to 29, just so anyone can reproduce it. Especially when I'm selling a bow like this, I like to just be able to give a broad answer that'll mostly work rather than just being like, go figure it out yourself and get lost in that internet rabbit hole and spend a year and thousands of dollars and this and that.
Man. So Devin,
It,
are
it could be different.
you a gap shooter, string walker, or instinctive?
Split finger, pure instinctive. Like I said,
Okay.
that's the bad habit of my, just
Right there.
learning as a kid. Yeah, learning as a kid and just doing it that way.
So when you
It's
pull
hard for me
back
to hold.
and when you're at full anchor, okay, and I'm a split finger guy, all right. So this is where middle finger has to be in my corner of my mouth. Are you looking at the target or are you looking at the tip of the arrow?
Looking at the target. I'm not referencing the string, the arrow,
Right.
nothing. It's all whatever. I love getting into that debate online too, because people will swear that like real instinctive is fake or whatever. It's all in your head. And oh, shoot at night. You can't do it at night when you can't see a target, but I shoot at night all the time.
Yeah.
Glow in the dark
Tell
target.
that to Fred Bear.
Exactly. He was a snap shooter too. It's a matter of how much you practice. And I've been
Yeah.
doing this since I was 12. So of course, with millions of arrows, I should be able to do something. I mean,
That's
but then
crazy.
they do it for a year or two and they get real serious and they can't figure out why they're not at that level. It's just, you got to
Yeah.
practice. You got to put in the time.
Yeah. And
The
I
Howard
don't,
Hill way, just, shoot it, keep
well,
going.
yeah. I'm kind of a semi Howard Hill guy. So when I
He had a
shoot,
weird instinctive method of going about it as well. It was
yes,
like half instinctive.
he starts down low and he comes up and draws at the same time, comes in.
Yep.
As soon as my finger is in my mouth, it's gone.
I'm the same way. I get this finger up in my cheekbone area. As long as it's rugged on that cheekbone, I'm good.
Yeah.
But like I said, I'm snapped. So as soon as I'm there and touching, as even if I tell my brain to hold for 5 more seconds, can't do it. Like as soon as I feel like I'm on it, it's gone and loose.
So let me
But
take the camera and show you some things.
okay.
All right, people. These animals did not kill themselves.
They were not depressed.
No, they what the hell am I going here?
It's a trophy.
These are not the Democrats. These are animals that died at my hand because I shot instinctive.
Yeah.
Pretty
Some of
much.
my some of my best and favorite shots are like those rabbits where they're running away real quick and you don't think you have that shot and you just pull back and let loose and you just see that arrow just like hit the heart and just do exactly what it's supposed to do because you were on your toes.
Yep.
And you don't get that
Yep.
from holding back, getting nervous and tired and waiting. No, like your brain
It's
instinct,
yeah, right.
10,000 years of instinct just put that arrow where it
Yeah,
needed to go.
it's not a freaking science project.
Nope.
No,
It's
just
funny you bring that up because I brought a couple books in, just two books in here to like kind of
um,
explain.
that's great.
New Archery Hobby Sport Craft by Paul H. Gordon. This is an interesting one because it's a thick, very text-based whatever
Wow.
from
Huh. I was going to say, how old? 1950 something? 1940 something?
1939 published. So
Hmm.
you have to remember, like, epoxies were just coming in and fiberglass was just coming in and they were figuring out their whatever. This book was claiming at its time to be like the definitive, like, mathematic logisticals to everything archery. Like in the beginning, they're like, we've known about archery for 10,000 years, but now we could finally put math and science to it and explain everything.
Hmm.
You read this book, and then once you're done, you realize a quarter of it's just not obsolete or completely wrong, or they were just doing the wrong measurements. So it's not a great book for resources, but in a lesson of hubris of just they had this much confidence, they had this many people researching to get all this written down, and then half of it doesn't even apply to that. It didn't even really matter to begin with, but they were so ambitious and they had that hubris that they could figure it all out, and they had just invented slow motion cameras that weren't even really that slow motion, so
Yeah.
they're watching the Archer's paradox and everything and trying to figure it out.
Yeah. Funny story. You say that. Slow motion camera. I
Mm.
tried to get myself filmed by my wife shooting these limbs made by Border Archery on a
Okay.
bear takedown. So these were foam core.
Ooh,
Uh,
interesting.
yeah, right. With graphite, I guess,
Fiberglass. Well, for the
fiberglass.
fiberglass.
Yeah, front back
Well, that was an old
laminations.
school thing for compounds, right? Compound bows used to use like graphite
These
limbs.
these were super cores. These were super curves.
Interesting.
So they had like a massive hook,
Yeah.
like that. Dude, I had four silencers on a string. Four. And it still sounded like a shotgun going off. I said,
Really? You would
how
think the
the
foam would be quieter,
how
but
the hell am I going to hunt
graphite.
with this? No, I can't. I got rid of them. It was just there's
Yeah.
no. I have no use for these. These are absolute crap.
Yeah, I saw some science and some videos about like foam core material, and it's kind of interesting because you have a more consistent material than you would with your core wood, and your core wood is where a lot of your defects and whatnot are going to end up being because your fiberglass and your glue are so good nowadays. It's core material that's going to give out. So if you can get rid of that and get something perfectly uniform with no grain structure, it makes sense, but
Right, but I think
not very
with
traditional. But and then we don't probably have it worked down to a science yet.
but you got a foam core, okay, which is supposedly forgiving, but then
Yeah.
you've got a graphite outer
Yeah, the
exterior.
opposite. Yeah,
It's
yeah.
not even moving, so it's like bam, bam, bam. I'm like, no,
Yeah,
like
just like a wall. Yeah,
yeah, put fiberglass and you'll be fine.
yeah.
But whatever.
You gotta try new things. So get ahead in anywhere, I guess. But in something like this, it's so hard to reinvent the wheel or to think of something that no one else has thought of before.
And
It's
and that's what they're trying to do in traditional archery today. They're trying to reinvent the wheel. And okay, well, it's been invented, it's been done. I think it's the way you present it is how it's being
yeah,
reinvented.
it needs the looks and the attitude that it used to have. That's what made it popular. There was a style and a sexiness to it that nothing has anymore.
Nah, and I have no
Maybe
problem exposing it. So, um,
yeah.
so let me ask you this. So you're a PA guy. Any hunts
Yeah.
outside of Pennsylvania?
Not to date, no. I mean, most of my archery buddies are from New Jersey, and I'm sure
Yeah,
something eventually will pop up. But now, like I said, I rarely get on the public land as is, and most of my hunting is just here, guarding the farm, doing
sure.
that. So I
So
would
I
love to
want
go on a crazy trip one day or do something, but time will tell.
Yeah, so you've probably been to a couple of shoots in Jersey and know some of the same people I know, like Dr. Caro,
Yes, very good
Jared,
friend of mine. That's been helpful
Jared,
lately.
yeah,
I have
great
something to
guy.
ask you about. Do you know George Johnson? You
Oh
remember George
heck,
Johnson?
yeah. Well, George called me back in May. My phone has been a mess, so I just got his voicemail from like 6 months ago.
Hmm.
So I need to talk to him. So I don't know what's up
He's
with him.
he's a very good friend of mine. We go to every local shoot together. He's probably my second best influence for just bowyer help, general information and knowledge. He's got quite a collection. He knows the history too.
Oh yeah,
But yeah, super helpful. And yeah, he's just always been around. And he calls me probably every week, every other week, because he doesn't get on the internet at all. He doesn't have nothing on the phone or anything. So I just get a random phone call every other week and be like, "How the bow's going? How's the wood? This and that." And he just loves talking archery. So he's just always good, someone good to hear from.
yeah. I've
So
known George 40 years.
yeah, he's been in a long time.
Um, so tell us a favorite hunting story.
Hmm. The one time I did chase a buck was here on this property. Like I said, we have about 9 to 15 females that are always just doing their rotations. I'm sure bucks that come in and breed and leave again, but there's normally never that just like stick around and do anything. So like I said, I normally don't have that deer drive, but seeing this one buck this one year sticking around, chasing the ladies, causing chaos, I was like, you know what? He looks kind of tasty now. Every time I was seeing him, I was up in I have a primitive tree stand, so it's just sticks and baling twine, and I get up there and I just chillax with my book and whatnot and wait with binoculars. So the first couple of times I saw him, I really couldn't get like a good beam on his size or his antlers or anything. Wasn't even sure if he was legal. Probably about two more times like that, doing the exact same thing. Him coming up right as the sun's coming down, not getting a good visual or whatever. So now I'm like actively, trying to figure out him and scope him and get his pattern down. So I have in between my tree stand and the neighbor's cornfield is 100-foot reserved area for a bird sanctuary, says the neighbor. So it's just weeds and whatnot. And I make a little path through there so I can be right up against the cornfield, but they can't see me. So one day I'm going out and there's a bunch of geese out in the field, and I don't want to disturb the geese to startle any deer, and I just want to keep them there so that way, they're distracted with the geese and not me. So I'm sneaking in under this weed foliage all around me, trying to be sneaky. And I hear something pop up behind me, like 10 yards. And I look around and it's the buck who happened to just be bedding down there, maybe like 10 feet from where I walked by. Heard I was sneaking, so didn't see me, but heard me, got up to see what was going on. So now he's 10 yards behind me, just like squared up looking at me. I got the geese and the females over here. And I had the visual on his horns. He wasn't quite legal. I think he was like 4 points with no drop tine, or I think at the time maybe three with a drop tine or something like that. Wasn't super big, but that was like the only time I got like that deer rush where he was right there. I was making the calculations. I was drawing back and just kind of staring, waiting for the next move. And then he just hopped off and away. I was like, oh man, that was kind of crazy. Like I said, other than that, it's just rabbit hunting and squirrel hunting and groundhog hunting. So nothing's really getting your heart racing too much. But we do have the occasional bear that walks through. And I wouldn't really call that a hunting story, but you got to fend off foxes and whatnot
No,
here and there.
dude. I mean, it's a hunting story in my mind because it's an experience.
Yeah, no,
Uh,
yeah. And like I said, that's like my one good like deer lust where I was like the heartbeat was going. I get why people do it now. Like I completely understand like the rationale behind it after experiencing it, but it's still not like something I'm gonna go out and go after for any day. And I haven't
yeah,
seen him
no,
since, so
dude.
he's moved on.
That's badass. I love it. I mean, it's like
Yeah,
it's like anytime like it's
I have it on video too because I was so like panicked at first when he first popped up. I whipped my camera out to like zoom in to see if I could see horns better. So I didn't have my binoculars on because I was going up close. So I have like a little shaky video of me like poking out over the bushes and zooming in on his rack like 10 feet away from me, and
do
me
you
just being
still
like,
do you still have that video?
I'll have to check because this is a new phone and I lost a lot of stuff. But I'll have to
Okay,
go back and
if
check.
if
I
you
might post
find
it.
it, if you find it, send it to me and I will share it.
All right, cool. Yeah, that'd be funny. Like I
Yeah,
said,
that'd be
just to get
funny
like
as hell.
that first buck's jitters and just be like, oh, I accidentally walked like way too close to him and walked right by him, and now he's
Yeah.
looking for me.
I'm like the Chinese guy or the Japanese guy with cameras coming to visit the US. So I'm always videotaping and I'm like, oh yaochi, whatever. And
Hey, you
that
gotta
was
get those
inappropriate,
memories.
but I don't give a shit. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah,
Well,
I
that reminds
love
you were talking. You mentioned Whiskey City Trad. Well, this whole traditional archery podcast thing. And I was like, oh, I'm gonna start watching some of his. And some of his cracked me up like his ETAR video because he
oh
was on
my
like a hay
God.
wagon and every
Yeah.
single person walking on, he's like, "What kind of bow you have? What is it? What kind of bow you have?" And I was like, "That's how I am at three here. Like, I just want to know everything. I just want to scope everything out, and that's good content right there." He was just like, "No, I
Well,
need to know what you're shooting."
he's got ETAR's videos 1, 2, and 3, and they're fantastic. All of them. I mean,
I don't think I
David,
watched them
yeah,
all the way through, but I
yeah,
definitely like watched like a good half an hour. I was like,
David,
"This is awesome."
I'm kissing your ass. However, it's a nice ass to kiss.
No, it
Um,
was good content.
but
Like I
yeah,
said, I was like, "This is exciting."
he's got great content. It's phenomenal content. I promote him 110% and vice versa. So I appreciate that. So we talked about the hunting story, which was cool as hell. So do you have a website or an email that people can reach you to talk about your bows?
Oh, I definitely have an email. My family, like our, this family that operates this farm, we kind of do antique firearm sales, antique outdoor salesman stuff, whatnot. And I do have my bows listed up on like the family website, which is www.sugarfootoutdoors.com. Sugarfoot Farms being our farm name. So a lot of antiques and whatnot there and, older ammunition, weird stuff. But my bows and my bowstrings are listed there and, you can get in touch with me that way. Really, the best way would be email. I mean, phone numbers are always changing, but I've had the same email for forever. So that would be dtuner91 at Gmail, would be DTUNER91 at gmail.com. And I'm always checking that and I can get back to you within 24 hours. You hit me up on there.
Yeah, folks, he's responsive.
Yeah,
He, he
I'm
res-
always
we've been talking
right.
all day long, and it's great. I am
Well, that's my
emails.
favorite part about this is just getting people that are as excited about me about building some of these bows. Like I'm currently making one for Jesse Moore. He's on Facebook a lot, but he was the first one to really be in like I want Coca Cola and whatnot. And he's almost as enthusiastic about me as like when we're starting to do the grip and when we're starting to do this. He's getting all these ideas, and that's the fun part, getting to do something different and personal to somebody, and really put something different out there.
Fun question. Last question.
Oh,
Uh, you're going to build me a bow. Let's go there. So
okay.
We'll talk about that another time.
Of
Uh,
course.
if you were to you're a young guy, so, but you know a lot about archery history. So if you were going to transport yourself in time, where would it be and why?
Hmm. If we're just talking archery,
Yeah.
then I think, yeah, I would probably like to be around 20 years old at like the 1962 mark. You
Mm.
got a lot of weird transitions going on in there, and bows were really changing. You started going towards that more radical design. And just to be there on like the West Coast and then see that crazy energy behind the traditional archery and
Oh yeah.
the enthusiasm and the marketing and the money just being thrown at it, just to be in that, presence in Aurora. Go to the field day and see 200 field archers out there all shooting at the same time. I was born in 91.
Wearing white shirts and white pants.
Yes,
Yeah.
all the girls in white skirts, all matching. Like by the time I was born, 91, like our traditional archery was pretty much on its way going down and not really doing anything crazy. So I
Well,
think personally, it's been going better in the past couple, 5, 10 years. Maybe it's just because I'm paying more attention, I'm involved, but I
I
see more
think
traditional at the shoots and a
yeah,
little bit less
I
conventional.
think traditional archery is on an uptick. Um,
Yeah,
however, everybody's chilled, so nobody's out there wearing suit and ties shooting.
yeah.
That's cool. I'm in agreement with you. That's where I would want to be. I would want to be that guy. The
It'd be like young and in it still and be able to shoot but watch it happen. I wouldn't want to
yeah,
be like 5 years old and see all those bows, but get to experience it and grow through the golden age.
yeah, I want to be the dude that's got the hair slicked back, you know,
Yeah.
Clark Gable mustache, wearing a white shirt, white linen pants, shooting a 1961, 62
Like
Damon Howard. Oh my
Jack
God, look
C.
at
Williams
yeah,
next to a Corvette with a Yamaha and just
yeah.
all white, just Jack Williams, also the man who like switched to 3 different archery companies within 5 years, right? It was
Hey, dude,
Hoyt,
I
Yamaha, and Wing.
nobody's sponsoring me except me. So,
Yeah, yeah, that's true. Yeah.
I mean, I shoot a bear takedown only because that's my hunting rig. And as you can see, and laying down there behind me, that's my hunting rig. I've got it set up. I'm stretching the string right now. I need
Getting
to
it ready.
drop. Yeah, I need to drop down about a half an inch on the brace height. Uh, hit the foam tomorrow.
There you go. I said
Yeah,
I was at 3D events all weekend. Yeah, I had a vendor table at 2 different events and shot all the courses.
sweet.
And the day before and the day after, we had to get 420 bales of hay delivered, and I had to throw that up in the attic. So it's been a pretty busy 4 days for me, and I'm exhausted. But this was fun.
Well,
This was very enjoyable.
I am so glad that you were able to come on here. I really enjoyed our time together. I really
Oh yeah,
did.
this was fun. This is good.
Uh, I live vicariously, like I said earlier, through you young people. You're the youngest bowyer I've ever interviewed.
That's something.
It is something.
I'm sure there's a couple younger out, but yeah, there's not too many that I know
Well,
into or run into.
there's a female bowyer out there, a couple of them that I did
Really?
interview. So if you go to the Spotify, my all my content is there.
Yeah, I noticed the Spotify has like 100 more episodes on there.
Right. So I just went to YouTube, which is only a month and a half old.
Yeah,
It's gone berserk. So I can't redo what I did. I
yeah, you don't have to
could, but I
video
don't
it.
want to. I want to just keep rolling forward. So, Devin, I want to thank you again on behalf of the Droptine Traditions podcast for coming on. And folks, now that it's on YouTube, I need you to like and subscribe, please. That'll
Yeah,
help me bring more content forward. Uh,
yeah.
but Devin, dude, I love you, man. I hope
Thank
to
you
meet
very
you.
much.
I hope to meet you someday.
If you
And
next time you're up in Pennsylvania, you hit me up. I got a 3D course here, horses to ride, the whole 9 yards.
sounds great, brother.
Okay.
So, with that said, I'm going to end this podcast and my final praise. People, take care of each other, respect each other, and love each other. Can't get
Amen.
better than that.
Nope.
So, all right, brother. You have a good night.
You too, man. Thank you very much.
All right, brother. Bye bye.